it's not felt like he's leveled up the same way. And Sunpius could be a very big difference maker in terms of raw roll for roll firepower for me. I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do as we head into Nuke, because that's obviously where they're generally expecting to be a bit more restrictive for the Opper, but even so.
Yeah, no, and we can't forget as well, I mean, Zero Tenacity are just one of these teams that play so sporadically, and so they're one of the hardest teams to read in the Tier 2 circuit. So for them, you know, going up against a heroic that they're a bit more familiar with, there will be some cheeky shenanigans that I imagine will unfold. But now into Nuke, xFloud playing close door and getting 2 with his dualies, 1 for each pistol. They just tried to burst out that hut and just get met with raw firepower. It's brutmonster that, you know, you called it for his name. He has to clutch 1 versus 4 with all 5 kills.
Listen, I said that we need to see a lot from him. This might be a bit much. He's being plinked down. He's got multiple targets to deal with. No one's giving him any respect whatsoever. This is frankly rude.
And they close the door in his face.
Damn. You can't do that to people.
Yeah, it's a very simple looking pistol there from Zero Tenacity that's picked apart very quickly. Good forward position from xFloud. I mean, it's a staggered burst into the A-bomb site, and the slower you are with that, the more angles you have to clear. We'd be remiss to not mention Nemanha's name.
Of course.
If we're talking about Zero Tenacity. In-game leader, heaviest hitter as well, which is kind of the crazy thing about this roster. I mean, we've had, you know, there's been a rise of fragging in-game leaders. You know, you think about at the heights of Counter-Strike we have right now. I mean, Blitz for the Mongols, Big Uzera in the Brazilian circuit, and to be honest,
don't forget Karrigan.
Yeah, I guess. at times.
He does have his moments in playoff matches.
He had a fantastic Katowice.
It's true.
But if we're thinking about, you know, emerging in-game leader fraggers, you can't not talk about Nemanha.
And it's an interesting contrast because on the other side, it's a personal favorite of mine in LNZ, who is much more of that traditional kind of low fragging, has his moments IGL on heroic side with a fantastic coach behind him, a man who you can ask no questions about. Saw is hoping to lead another team into the top 10 of Counter-Strike. xFloud, taken down and out. Monster in the meanwhile will look to try and equalize, but Simka on the lurk is happy to shut it down and extend their advantage.
Still yet to actually make use of the outside position to its full effect, especially in the 5 versus 3. You'd maybe expect that they start to use numbers, but they're resetting. They're letting heroic stew in uncertainty. I might actually just re-exec outside. I mean, Neman has seen no re-aggression after pausing for about 30 seconds atop those secret steps. But re-journeying that cross will be challenging. I mean, they have 1 smoke, so it cannot be a covered cross.
You're still going in to a very interesting crossfire. You don't have any Molotovs to take out Tenir. Tenir's got 1, but that's all. AVN and Kyofo will shut them down. That could have been dangerous. But Nemanja and company are always happy to take some late round duels.
Yes. Sunpius was just a little late to fight with him. As Tenir takes contact, you're kind of hoping that Sunpius can swing alongside him, because Tenir is continuing to peek, kind of expecting that they can make use of that crossfire. But just that half, honestly, 250 milliseconds delay at most. I mean, it's literally splitting hairs. But had he been that little bit quicker, maybe he could have saved Tenir, maybe could have gotten away with 1 more kill. Sometimes it can be those fine margins. That was the only real way back into the round for heroic, so
LNZ, able to keep his gun alive. They are going to force by immediately in towards the next one. And Tenir is an interesting character for me, Michael, because I was very taken aback to see him on this heroic lineup. He's always been someone kind of on the cusp, be it from the Forza days, and even on Gun 5 last year, it felt like he was getting great numbers, but just lacked the team to push forward. But he fell off my radar, I'll be honest. So when I saw heroic picking up, I'm thinking, surely this isn't going to be permanent, right? They're bringing in Modern, right? And no, he's been really a revelation in terms of how transferable his skill set was into the top level. It's only unfortunate that visa issues stopped him from attending the LAN portion of the Blast earlier on this year as well. Otherwise, would have really liked to see more, and I'm sure that he hopes to rectify that with an appearance in Dallas.
Yeah, and I mean, even for heroic at Katowice, they felt like they underperformed. You know, they got destroyed versus Big in their closing sentiments at Katowice. And Big have lost their opening round games, so we have to focus in on Zero Tenacity ahead of them. Losing X-Cloud outside is far from a ideal start. But expect a lot of rounds like this from Z10. Slow, get a forward position, hold.
It is a little bit scary, though, if xCloud continues to be exploited or just even generally focused on in a way where he's not given support and can't find the kills on his own. He's obviously, you mentioned the Sangol core. I think he was the highest rated player off them once upon a time. As Sun Pius has also found out, Youngster is hoping to reclaim territory, but LNZ is the only one with a kill. Another position where a save seems the only option. But LNZ wants more. Ooh,
good
great
ding.
headshot.
Yeah, just needed the instant kill and couldn't find it. Spent far too much time jiggling back and forth on that angle. So now Tenir's kind of left with nothing to do but try and hold on to this FAMAS. If there's a smoke... Listen, all I'm saying is Nuke is a very ninja-able map.
Even if there isn't a smoke, if there's just one player who's watching out for it, you still get it.
Yep.
That is the plan.
More teams need to try it. And Tenir is giving it a fancy. Oh my god, Kyofo has just left. He's the last man here. He just needed that kill. Even then, it would have maybe been challenging. Nemanha wasn't too far away. Probably could have got there in time.
It does feel like the best way to try and defend the A site is just to hide from heaven entirely. And wait for the tap on the defuse. You're gonna hear that right at the same time. Maybe have one player in HUD who can run away. Just don't take the duel.
Gotta worry about that blast radius though. So if you're trying to save weapons, you have to get some distance.
Right now, the only distance E10 are looking for is distance from Heroic on the score up top, and they will have a chance to really start to stretch it out. Senpai is not going to have an AWP in the next round, I do believe. And without that, you do continue to wonder what xCloud support system on outside is going to look like. Feels hard to navigate that ramp player away and get him to maybe come through for a late secret peek, anything like it. Have an op to cover off ramp behind. Can be tricky.
Good coverage on the spray there from Simca, and oh, they're getting swarmed by USPs. The bullets are simply not connecting as well as Heroic would have liked. It's damage, but only pulling one gun out of Z10's hands. Getting on better? Could have been worse. Back into rifles now are Heroic, but again, it'll be... Oh, I wasn't sure if Sampas was going to commit to it, but it is a glass cannon AWP. Now, outside has been a heavy priority for Z10 at the start of rounds. They've got Nemanha covering those secret steps a couple of times. They've made the cross on at least one player. You know, that seems to be the sort of the precursors that you're looking for on Z10 in terms of establishing map control and then coming to a decision. So it will be interesting to see whether Sampius tries to position himself in a way that can maybe address this. I will say, you know, you kind of talk about the roster moves that Heroic have made in bringing in Sampayas and bringing in Tenir. Tenir has definitely hit the ground running far more than Sampayas has.
Yeah.
You know, I think when you think about Sampayas as a player and the impact we've seen him have in rosters of old, we expect more from what he can offer us. And it was also one of the things we always highlighted in that old Sangal core is something that maybe even held them back. So Sampayas is supposed to upgrade this roster substantially. We get to see how high that level can actually be raised.
Especially when you consider the narrative of him reuniting with his old coach with whom he had all the success in the first place.
Yeah.
A lot to ask from him. A man who we know can deliver, but Can is a far side away right now. LNZ spamming and trying to take control over the vents, making sure there can be no one lurking inside. Tenir has vacated ramp out for Sampayas. But right now, Zero Tenacity, they've lost out the first man. Youngsters found 3 somehow as they're trying to scale out of hut. They will lose everything. No flashes, no nothing.
Goodness, Youngster's on for the ace, and he's just destroyed every single Z10 player. Instant headshots on that A1S, bullet for bullet, clotheslining them as they came out of hut, and there was no recovery. That is the second time Z10 have tried to 3-man out from hut with that main split and late door lurk. That has just been destroyed. They tried it in the pistol, they've tried it on a gun round, and neither have been successful. Absurd round and hold from Youngster.
Yeah.
A player that's really actually kind of unlocked himself since the joining of Heroic.
Even towards the end of Sangal, I felt like, you know, he was always a sleeper player who could come through and come up, but brutmonster has now found X-Cloud outside yet again. Sampayas in from ramp last time, not actually noticed with the AWP, not needed, so they don't know the position that he was holding on to. That's what he's relying on in this 5 versus 4. Tenir on outside with LNZ to support if need be. Knows that they really can't reinforce the B-bomb side or ramp in any way. It has to be all on Sampayas over here. And Z10, they will challenge. Oh, great timing on that smoke. That is fantastic.
Made a lot of noise repositioning. Maybe Z10 will be brave enough to venture. I mean, they blow it. Sampayas has that line, and it's an instant kill with that AWP. He's gonna re-peek into it, though, and it's very slow. Brute already held the line with his own AWP.
The time helps, though, but the problem is LNZ's been taken down by Nemanja, who spent all of this time creeping forward in through Secret, and now suddenly that B-bomb set is gone. Reinforcements will never arrive. This has to be a safe call from the CTs, and you really do wonder, was that re-peek in really necessary?
Yeah, I would hazard no, but also because time is low, the fact that Z10 just freeze for Sampayas to re-swing, he's probably not expecting that. You know, 30 seconds, they've still, I mean, by Heroic's knowledge, they've not breached the lower bomb site. They didn't know about Nemanja and his late lurking. So, from Sampayas' point of view, if they're showing no urgency, then it could have just been that one player that's challenging in towards ramp, and if Sampayas gets that information, he knows that his topside players are going to be put on notice. So, I want to see it from his point of view, just given what we knew about what Brute was doing on the other side. The slow, and I mean snail's crawl peak from Sampayas was not going to be very advantageous.
And the thing is that, yes, that's obviously one of the big tipping points of the round, but we cannot see Heroic lose X-Cloud like this repeatedly. Zero Tenacity has been doing such a good job of exploiting him. Previous round, grenade to pop open the smoke. There's already a boost up for Brute, and he just finds a kill immediately, turns around the entire round.
Yeah, leaves just a major avenue of attack just completely open. So X-Cloud is changing his approach, taking to the secret steps instead.
Z10 have done much the same. They are staying passive. Youngster knows what's going on, but he might have missed his chance. Simka goes down, under, and below. The call's been made. X5 will have to recede back to try and contest.
To be honest, if there's no reaction, if Simka doesn't investigate the secret steps, this could still be very weird here for Heroic. Either Simka ascending up those vents, or if they try and get access to secret, X-Cloud has to get a double kill.
You've also doubled up inside ramp, let's not forget. Those guys could be continually worried, and X-Cloud doesn't find anything. Nemanja gets the better of him again. A headshot which will not matter. And suddenly that threat that you were unable to neutralize earlier on becomes even more so in the form of Simka. Youngster hoping to mount another defense, but a Molotov at his feet will push him away, and LNZ has been pushed down into the ground. 5-on-3 with plenty of time for Zero Tenacity, but they're still going through towards the only avenue of resistance. It's Sanpias on the other side of a scope, who's found 2 and evens the score. Tenir still waiting in the midst of ramp room, but he's realized that reinforcements are necessary back in A.
Time.
It's ticking. It's going away, and indeed, Tenir's rotation, the patience from Z10 again pays off. How do they keep getting away with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's an outrageous set of circumstances. I mean, they wait so long for Simka to pull the trigger on that flank, and Sanpias aware, hitting those shots. I mean, Z10 felt like they had all the control in the world, and Sanpias almost brings them back into this round, but almost doesn't cut it. He needed those topside riflers to be a little bit more successful, and it's a tough call. I mean, Youngster is trapped himself in at Tetris, front hut's exposed. He knew at least one player was in at the door, and he thought he was going to get pushed from either side, and he couldn't pick. It's the kind of snap decision making that can define a round. If Youngster commits himself to the fight at hut and he drops the bomb, there's no time for Z10 to recover that round if the bomb is dropped even for a second. So yeah, a tactical timeout called here by for Heroic just to straighten things out. So we'll have some words to calm the Heroic squad down, I imagine.
I hope so.
I mean, you can imagine how the communications would have been panicked. I mean, they know Simka was inside of that door smoke, and he probably made it down to the lower site. They were aware of someone throwing presents outside, X-Cloud flubbing his lines, so there's the potential of getting main split. Your solo ramp players having to play the back box on ramp and juggle between trophy as well as the ramp itself. A very hectic set of circumstances for everyone involved. This is part of what makes Z10 such an uncomfortable team to play, is that they're a team that take a lot of risks. And sometimes it looks so stupid, and rightfully so. You take a lot of risk, you're bound to get it. You're about to have it explode in your face from time to time. But when the risk works out, it stuns teams.
It's in a lot of ways the perfect upset team in that regards.
Sure.
Sanpias, again, could make a difference. But he's pushing into a corner that's already held in a shadow that makes him second guess. Gives up his position, backs off. There's still an M4 behind him. Tenir could be baited for. Do not make a mistake about it. Youngster has found Simka, and X-Flat has a chance to break his 6-round dry spell. He finds Kayofo, and it is all falling apart for Zero Tenacity. AVN beelines down into the flames as LNZ tries to escape that descending T-side player. To try and shuffle backwards and forwards, but Brute's been found. In the meanwhile, AVN will miss his spray, and Zero Tenacity, a round that should have been in their pocket, has slipped right out.
That's just another one of those moments. I mean, it's a great starting line there from Sanpias, but as soon as he knows that there's a player close, just evacuates. Full running, knows he has what was it, Youngster in at the ramp as well, alongside him, so Simka got drawn in by hearing the retreat of Sampaius' orb. And that was only the first domino to fold. You see these immediate counter reactions from Z10 trying to find an advantage back, and it just went from bad to worse. A nice continued activity there from Sampaius in that round. Went from good starting line to finding nice defensible positions with that AWP. Outside smokes thrown by Z10 at the start of this round, and there, see the counter Molotovs there from Heroic. They're anticipating a topside hit. They are very prepared for this. The Molotov burning Youngster out. He drops to the floor, and there will be a 1-for-1 trade. LNZ is well traded onto the site, and it's still into a 2 versus 2 where the bomb is dropped topside.
And realistically, Sampaius is not going to be very relevant in this one at all. He cannot come out of vent without putting himself at risk substantially. So it's effectively a 1 versus 2 unless Sampaius can move back in through secret outside without dying to pneumonia. Tenir is the one with a spotlight on him. Pneumonia peeks forward and he's died immediately. Tenir taking risks that he knew he had to buy space to make this into a real 2v1. But does he realize Brute's already gone past? He sees the shadow. It will not matter. It is a shadow of death. Brute's more worried about Sampaius flanking in from heaven than he is from the mini cave itself. There is no kit for Sampaius. There might be one on the ground, but as Brute receives backwards, it's to the vents he wants to go. Sampaius is watching this. He will find it right at the nick of time.
He was just about to give up that angle. I mean, he's starting to reposition himself away from main. The timing could have just worked against Sampaius, but he hits the hairline shot. I mean, he had such a good angle to hold. He reads the situation perfectly, and that is one area that Sampaius has not lacked, is reads in late rounds and pulling off clutches for this Heroic team, where he's had maybe some struggles in finding impact on, you know, opening lines, and, you know, maybe even in the mid round when he's called the clutch, he has been giving the goods.
Wow.
Well, okay, that's
It's
one
not
way to humble him.
It's not a late round, right? Like that's the before 130 anything goes, and right now Youngster is the one going down. X-Cloud now called to compensate for a bit of a lackluster CT side. It's LNZ and X-Cloud who are hoping to regain control of outside and secret, and they do so, but these Deagles, they just keep finding heads. There is no one on this A site. Tenir wants to peek forward. The advantage he has is the lack of armor. He finds one, he finds two! They turn away! Tenir is still going to fall to the M4 of Simka, who brings it back to a one-on-one. But as LNZ is number 3 coming in from heaven, he's been spotted out, and Simka now dodges away, hoping that the sidearm will help, but instead still falls. LNZ looks to recover an op. It will get a little bit close to time, but he should be fine.
Yes, yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Oh, it's such a risk, but he is good. He is. I promise you, he's all good. He ran the calculations. We're still getting nervous. You know, you don't want to lose a round like that, and they don't. So, yeah, but man, those Deagles. I mean, just instant headshots on 3 peaks that Heroic make towards that outer yard, and that's just one of the. I mean, that's just a big fumble from Zero Tenacity. I mean, I understand they don't have armor; they're on Deagles, but they both turn away from heaven as soon as the plant is down. Is crazy. Might have been miscommunication. Maybe thought the door player had at least some sightline on it.
Packages received. Pneumonia? I didn't know you were such a fan of delivery.
Yeah, you want to keep lurking outside? Eat that.
Right back over, finds the one, will try and get away, stays alive for a second somehow. That is unexpected to say the least, but now Tenir has to try and quickly find Simka, and indeed he will. 4-on-2 Heroic looking to close things out on the 7-round CT side, despite being a little bit down and out earlier on in the half. Tenir Stays alive, and his repositioning will give him a very long one. brutmonster is caught completely off guard. He's about to be given the good old peekaboo, and guess what? He's not the only one playing games like a 3-year-old. Nemanja, though, comes in with a flank, and now suddenly the bomb can try and be planted. There's still a chance to open the door, take him down, make it 2, make it 7. Heroic taking advantage as we go to that second half. It would be hard to describe that first half, but I'm going to try and do it anyway. Lack of success on outside from CT's side, somehow success on outside. Lack of success on upper, somehow success on upper. Back and forth is one way to put it. Heroic and Zero Tenacity continue to deliver an entertainment at the very least, and man, I cannot wait for the second half.
Yeah, the one word I would use to describe it is fun. You know, it felt like a very fun, a little bit hanging in the balance type of first half, which is kind of what I expect from, you know, two teams that, you know, Zero Tenacity were massively on a rise last year and then kind of petered out towards the end of it. They're still a team that have pretty much exclusively played online tournaments. I mean, they've played domestic LANs, but they've never taken that step further, whereas the Sangal core actually did get a couple of chances towards the end of last year to express themselves and put themselves on the market, so to speak, and it has landed them under this Heroic banner where they've been kind of making some solid strides with the upgraded pieces to that core.
Gotta accelerate though, Michael, because the plan is simple, but it might not work. brutmonster's found one. Nemanja and Simka are the ones holding a crossfire down. Simka tripled up while Xfout is all alone. The plan was to hit the A site, but the A site hits back.
Simka, what did he do to those hut players?
Let me explain. Left click, left click, left click.
Yeah, I mean, they all died so fast. And, you know, for Heroic, that must have sucked, coming out of hut as a choke point with 3 players staring at you. And they get rightfully chewed out for it, so... CT sides doing well to defend the CT pistol. And that top side. Both of them went for largely hut plays. But Heroic went on fast timing. So basically it'd be a full save. xFlow did get 2 kills in that pistol round, so justifies himself a dig.
Look,
and destroyed.
You know what, I'm gonna hold off for just a second because I'm curious to see if we get another few Deagle kills. Zero Tenacity made it look easy, but turns out it is anything but. Senpai barely even gets the chance for it. Nemanja, he's collected all the kills he wants with this MP9. He just wants to hide away right now. He's got that money in the bag. This is where I am curious about whether or not we see maybe a shift of focus towards outside, towards trying to find Nemanja and try and isolate him out, try and make sure that, you know, one of the talismans of Zero Tenacity can be brought down. I would personally like to see that. I think Zero Tenacity did a very good job on their own T side of doing something like it in terms of limiting xCloud's potential. But we're going to have to wait to see.
I mean, they just continually put down a wall of smokes, and then they were blowing the smokes open as well. So
yeah,
even in the fights towards main, they were trying to do some of those, I guess, cheesy moves to catch an advantage. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. You know, that's how the half really panned out. I don't imagine Heroic are going to be as tricky about the ways that they orchestrate these rounds. It's never really been their MO. You know, they'll still do mid-round maneuvers, but they're a little bit more conventional.
Heroic are trying to get a pincer onto the B-bomb side, but they have to be wary about this push coming in from behind in lobby. It is going to be Simka and company to lead the charge. AVN is the first one to find a kill, and as Kyofu will block off a single pathway, he funnels them into Nemanja's MP9. The problems, though, come from Youngster, Tenir, and xFlow. The 3 players left alive are the 3 who continue to frag. xFlow distracts, and Simka suffers for it.
Yeah, it felt like they hit a good timing to actually flank out those ramp players, but they just didn't get enough for that potential flank. I mean, it's a pretty standard reaction, you know, loose outside control, take lobby access, but if those ramp players weren't so quick to trade, things could have gone very dicey. Unironically, this is one of the reasons and whether or not there's there are shenanigans happening for Zero Tenacity, they're an interesting team to watch because they're almost always moving. You know, they'll hunt for info, they'll go for double pushes. Sometimes they'll go for a solo, isolated explore mission. You know, typically when we look at Anubis, that'll be further in the series if we get there. Nemanja loves just walking mid, just on like random timings, and they're a fun team to watch from that perspective. But if a team is clued into those timings, as Sangal honestly have been, you know, they've won a lot of the head-to-heads, or like this Sangal core that Heroic now have won a lot of head-to-heads against Zero Tenacity. So they're privy to a lot of these antics.
Yeah. It's a 1-for-1 turning to 4v4, but right now brutmonster is the one who I'm wondering about, and LNZ on the other side will be able to get the crossover, and the threat of that is enough to force the repeat. Why stop at 1 when you can get 2? The bomb's being planted. Kyofu was thinking about pushing that smoke, but brutmonster's given up his life. Kyofu will do the same.
I don't think I actually don't even know if the glass was broken. I think that's why xFlow was so flabbergasted that there was an AWPer inside of the windows. But, yeah, I mean, nice shooting from LNZ and xFlow alike. was not expecting such sharp shooting from the in-game leader, but... To be honest, Nuke and in-game leader's fragging is part and parcel.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Think of an Alexi B. Think of a Nico. Oh, wait, sorry, that hasn't happened yet. My bad.
Soon, TM.
Okay, no.
Oh, this is very unideal.
I think we're fine, but I'm not sure yet.
Simka could still get away with a cheeky one. Oh my god. Oh my.
Oh no. Lindsay's able to calm things down a bit more. The problem is Simka, no matter what he does, he will not be in a position to recover rifle. That is the one big disadvantage of where he is right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, he should get his hands on a rifle now.
Will be able to do so. AK picked up, and the heroic players are going to look to stay together right now. Simka will actually be taken down because I can't read maps, and I thought that X-Cloud was inside, not outside this site. My bad. Just straight lying to you.
Yeah, good communication as well. Made sure to ferry the gun over so that both at least retrieved AKs. But they should not have lost as many as that to USPs. So, a little bit of strain, but given the way that they've won the past couple of rounds, they've already got a buffer. We just could have been even more buff.
There might not be an AWP until it is game point. And brutmonster, well, he's suffering for it. He's already lost his IGL, and now he's losing advantages. AVN comes back to bring them back to him. And although Brute spots out a player inside the smoke, Youngster stays for too long. He's really hoping to punish with the help of that Molotov, but Senpais is the one to swing out. Tenir already collecting on one. It's 2 versus 2, but these players are so low, and they're gone! Alright? To the ground. Senpais is thinking about maybe even regrouping back to lobby and going in through towards the A site, perhaps? And he might not have that timing. Simka pushing forward. Might be able to spot him out. Senpais will have the flank if he chooses to push. This is all a game of cat and mouse, and I don't know which one is which. They're both squeaking and meowing. Senpais starts to limp forward towards that A site where Simka also lies, and Simka's made up his mind. He will not move. He will play for the retake. If it is going to be on B, he is stalwart in position, and Senpais can only hope to get a clean headshot. He will not find it. Simka shuts him down.
He had a firm read from start to finish. I mean, Senpais could have been in so many different positions. He could have been sat inside of garage. He actually could have just sat in garage for 30 seconds and then walked down the steps. He could have walked to hell and ascended heaven. Simka just committed to one idea, and it was bang on the money. I mean, you read Senpais like a book. So a very important clutch there for Zero Tenacity. That would have tipped the scales. Heroic likely run away with this map, in all honesty. But it keeps Zero Tenacity afloat. Still not premium weaponry, even in the win. One survivor will do that to you, and the CT economy.
Fickle. At the very least, Simka will have a kit, so you do have that small solace.
But Heroic have now exhausted all their smokes. Just assembling this wall, and there's already a player inside of the secret steps that can guarantee that there's no one trying to make it past red with those smokes.
X-Cloud's found the important kill though with Emania getting taken down. brutmonster once again has to be the hero, and he starts to push forward. He's going to be going through those smokes. He will not even need to. Simka gets the kill, stays alive. brutmonster doesn't frag though, and Simka is again called to order. It is unreasonable to make that request of him. Youngster will die as he's planting the bomb, and Kyoko has given himself a chance to get this 1 versus 2, but he can't get the initial kill, and with that it is now regrouping from Senpais and X-Cloud that will help them push forward. Kyoko can be navigated away from. And as the bomb's being planted, he gets the jump again. It's behind the side. Kyofo gets it done. How can they let that one go?
That's a 1 versus 3. And the first kill, a guarantee. They molly him off. They know he's inside of hut. He can't walk at 15 mile an hour. He couldn't have been door in time. I mean, they tap the bomb. Sampaius gets his gun out, but then isn't ready to swing. That's outrageous. That's an outrageous round to lose.
Katowice had pictures of coaches standing behind their players, faces in their hands. I can't see Saw right now, but I imagine it wouldn't be too different.
Just the decision making is just flustered. Yeah, that's crazy. And given that we have an extended pause, it appears we've encountered a technical issue. I don't know if somebody has slammed something a little too hard, but that's where my mind would go to after losing a round like that. And it's 2 rounds where, you know, praise Sampaius in the clutch on that CT side. It's 2 rounds now where, I mean, this time he is the last man standing in a 1 versus 3. It's not all on him. But 2 back-to-back positions where he needs to win a critical duel. He gets read into too hard by Simka in one of the prior rounds, and then now just devastated. So yeah, there's challenges, there's hurdles.
Yeah.
To overcome emotionally and technically.
And a technical timeout afterwards is not going to be helping at all. I mean, this is always one of those things about tech timeouts. They introduce such variance in terms of what you're thinking about, what you're sort of going to be stewing in. As far as I'm aware, you're not allowed to actually speak during the tech timeout either. And again, I could be completely wrong because online matches are a little bit different, but I do think they have referees sitting there with you, making sure. But again, I could be wrong. I wouldn't claim to know the inner workings. Can you imagine stewing in silence for like 2-3 minutes after that?
Yeah, it can either fester or it can free you. You know, I think there's a lot of, yeah, like you said, it's a bit of an unknown quantity. It's all about how you react in the dead time. Because some teams need that moment to breathe, and others would rather just push past it. And wouldn't want to let it fester. So,
and look, we've talked about it from the heroic perspective. For Zero Tenacity, this has to be their second win. We need Nemanja to be able to come alive outside again. We need brutmonster, who now has the AWP, to be able to get activated. Kyofo has given them that, I wouldn't call it olive branch, but he's handed them an oar to make sure they can swim to shore. Technically, you wouldn't be swimming if you have an oar. I understand, but I forgot what you call those little boats that you have oars with, okay? Gondolas, canoes. Okay, yeah, okay. I was thinking of a gondola. I was like, yo, Venice is pretty romantic, but...
I don't think there's any romance happening in the comms right now.
Have you ever been canoeing?
Yeah, I've canoed. I've kayaked a lot.
Well, we're back in the game, so
yeah, it's all right.
Maybe we'll get the lore later on.
Save you from a sinking ship.
I don't know what kind of ship Heroic are on, but Zero Tenacity right now are on a speedboat. It is going to be collision course with Heroic immediately in the Tech 9s. And Nemanja picks up one. And again, Simka somehow is stalwart with the triple kills on this A site.
Yeah, the flashes didn't catch him. I mean, he's sitting up on top of that heaven, and as they're coming out of HUD, it's just a simple funnel once again. I mean, a nice pacey type of play, but with the emergence of that player out from the main smoke, it just becomes so half-hearted. Someone has to be watching at, but you have 4 players coming out of huts, you just don't have the manpower to distribute like that. They couldn't trade Simka. Oh my god. Yeah, that's a dead man walking. Ran through the flames instead of being tinged by them.
It's about to be 11 to 10. Unless Sunpius and Tenir can get some ridiculous kills, you're going to be 1 gun round away from losing this map. Those kills aren't coming.
This is the kind of thing that can happen after winning back-to-back clutches. It's completely taken the wind out of the sails of Heroic. Yes, they've been on low buys, but they're barely getting an inch. We contrast that to the first series we had with Big and BC game. You know, some of the low buy rounds that Big was pulling off were absurd. They're crazy.
Yeah. And right now, Zero Tenacity keep 5 alive. Look at their money. It is...
And 4 alive the round prior.
They're
looking great.
And to be honest, in positions like this, it's not even about money for me. It's about, hey, Heroic lose a 3 versus 1, and then they get basically, effectively no kills, right? 1, whatever, it doesn't matter. They don't cause a dent. And these are young players. I need a killer call right now where they can turn their brain off and only focus on what they've been told to do. It's a tough map for the T side, but that's why sometimes we see brilliance from IGLs and coaches to be what pushes teams through. Heroic require that, but Zero Tenacity so far, they've had the stopping power.
Yeah, and they've got the motivational rounds to look at. So while mood is high in one camp, it is low in another, and Saw needs to have either inspired or given them something to lock in on. Outside pressure, LNZ finds that first kill. That's Nemanha down. Surviving on 1 health is the in-game leader of Heroic. Even the spam from xFloud keeping brutmonster at bay, forcing him away from those duels outside. Kyofo sees nothing when he blows that smoke open. That's as far as their info gathering, their hunting will actually push them to do. It's actually a double play into the secret steps where Z10 try and find a counteraction.
There's going to be no one on outside, and that means that there's a window where you find this to be practically a free A site. Simka can offer some resistance. He's got an incendiary as well, should he desire to deploy it. And when they start to see that there's no one on outside, suddenly he becomes a little bit more worried. No, they don't. Simka, sorry. Brute Monster. Kyofo lies in wait. He's asked for company to be given over to him instead, and AVN's flank is going to be a bit too late. Even though he gets LNZ, he brings it back to a 4-on-4. Now it's about the retake, but no, they have chosen poorly. Simka somehow again defends. The round's not over yet, though, as Heroic still have a hope. They've got a pinprick of possibility on this B bomb side, but if AVN finds Youngster, that pinprick might as well be gone. Tenir's got to get a 1v3. He's caught between angles and he can't find anything. How does Simka keep on doing it?
I mean, it's all set up by the fact that they go for that double secret push. I mean, one's flanking outside, the other still commits to that lower side of the map because they know that a possibility of vent drop is available. Simka's just ready to fly up that vent if they decide to attack that A bomb site. It's a very reactive position, but they come straight to Simka. These have been devastating round losses. Z10 have managed through so many of them, and now are sit on the precipice of winning this map, where Heroic had all the momentum, had set themselves up, honestly, perfectly. Those back-to-back clutches have devastated Heroic, stopped them in their tracks. and now every play that follows feels like overthought or undershooting.
Nemanja will be a victim once again on outside, but that didn't stop them in the previous round. X-Cloud, though, he's got a different thing in mind. They will be able to extend that lead. 5 versus 3 now just 2, and Heroic will be able to turn this mental pressure off just long enough to keep themselves in the game.
And this time, no Simka. Outrageous behavior, no clutches, no multi-kills. But still money in the tank for Z10 to combat this final round. It's OT or bust here for Heroic. If only every round could be as simple as just killing them all around the map.
We've already seen 113-11 Heartbreak today. It was what pushed Big Clan down to the lower bracket. Heroic are hoping to avoid that same fate. Nice nade on Youngster to start things off with Zero Tenacity. This time are playing a little bit more passively on outside. It will not be Nemanja trying to get aggro. It will instead be populating the vent that is priority as they wait for what looks to be an upper execute, at least a fake one, if nothing else. brutmonster.
X-Cloud. There's so many players ready to greet them around the edge of that smoke. It's a Nemanja double. Tanir and Youngster answer back, and Senpai is able to come out from Hut. It's still a 2-on-2, but Tanir's low.
Brutes just watching out for the crossover. Senpai with the bomb plant. Tanir has to cover it off. Tanir misses out on that initial shot, and now, although he will get it, he's got no HP to fight in through the flames. Zero Tenacity will find 13. Heroic fight hard, but every clutch, every multi-kill, everything goes the way of Zero Tenacity.
Yeah, and a very, very solid performance, and these key moments from Simka and Kyofo really just set the tone for the remainder of that second half. I mean, some good fight towards the end there from Heroic, and even that final round did hang in a bit of a balance, but some key shots.
It's good because he was really superpowering some of those sight holes, and you're not expecting that from an anchor every time.
Yeah, I'm not really expecting it from Simka in general. Yeah, I don't think it'll be as simple. Mirage is a map where you're, almost always getting split. I think what Simka was able to do on Nuke was he was locking down choke points. There's going to be a few different avenues of attack here for Heroic, and we'll see them on that attack to start.
It'll be a smoke out, waterfalling into triple like we saw earlier on. Senpai will start to navigate around it and hope to cut off Nemanja's head. But right now it's Kyopo who's been pushed back. There are 3 players in CT, soon to be 4, but cut down. Nemanja's missed everything and given X-Cloud a chance while the bomb was being planted. But it's a brilliant shot from Brute to take down LNZ, leaving Tanir to be victim number 3.
Okay, those shots were disgusting from Brute. From the quick flick to the instant, crosshair placement straight on Palace, just had that last player locked down. Fantastic shooting there from Brute. Even with Nemanja's whiff, Zero Tenacity are able to stabilize and retake. They had to establish CT control, especially when Heroic were going to push forward as fast as that. It's a very common reaction for Ts. You don't have the resources to stall out, sit in the bomb site. So often they will challenge for spawn. And it does sometimes just come down to straight duels. But they got a plant down, so they get this force buy in with some Galils. And already setting up outside of that B bomb site. X-Cloud to join them a little later. If you can ascend up through Cat, that would be a nice benefit. Smoke top con, clears out a path, and Avian takes a lot of damage on short.
Simka able to get the first one for free, even backs off and gets another one into short. He's watching out! He keeps on getting away with it! I've got my answer, Michael. Somehow, LNZ's coming from behind. It won't be too much of a problem to deal with, but Look, at the end of the day, there's been a lot of damage dealt already to ABN. brutmonster is really the one you're watching out for to close this round, and he does just that.
Yeah, I said there would be difficulties for Simka because he's probably going to get split, but he handled that split like a champ. He's flexible.
God damn.
An athlete, a gymnast, and an anchor.
Counter-Strike player. Is there anything this man can't do?
I've yet to see him all, but maybe we'll get there.
Don't make him. Don't make him,
Yeah,
okay?
maybe we'll get there.
I know he's got it in him. Sorry, it's just so funny to see someone in our body blocker decoy, and I know he probably just didn't register for a second, but...
He's probably expecting his vision to go out in a second, and then just all of a sudden, oh, it's... I don't have to worry about this. This isn't a smoke.
Well, they don't have to worry about too much in this round regardless. It's going to be 0 kills found for the T side. Heroic are going to be left wanting in their economic terrorism attempts. The CTs will have money.
Yeah, that was certainly one way to phrase that.
I don't know, man. I was thinking of the Confessions of an Economic Hitman, the book. I'm like, can I get a reference? I'm not smart enough for this. Never mind.
Halfway in, all the way out. So far, Heroic not getting far on these site takes. Got a bomb plant and the pistol, but have been stuffed ever since. It's only 3 rounds, of course. Now they finally have AKs in their possession, and this is looking like an A-side split. Very fast con control, and they're walking through their bottom con smoke, so they should be able to flank out these players, especially the one emerging out from jungle. xCloud, a good entry, and Kyofo completely mollied and burnt to a crisp, but there was a player at the back of the bomb site, Zimanha, with the MP9 that's come away with a double. xCloud has him pinned in position, and LNZ tries to force the issue. He will succeed. It is now Simka, the Grim Reaper, that stands in their way.
xCloud is low. He can't take the peek. They can't cross over here either easily. The smoke goes out, and it's all a question of will they cross before he goes by it. They're not ready for it. No, xCloud peeks in and blindsides him. Oh, that looks scary for a second.
Yeah, I did get worried.
And listen, when we're talking about worries, you know what worried me? How does Zimanha get 2? This reminds everyone that the crouching accuracy for the MP9 might have been changed, but the standing has not been.
Yeah, it's just too strong. Also, Zimanha did just bait a lot on that bomb site, so they were really not expecting an extra man.
It's called trade fragging.
Yeah, and he did get his 2 kills, so... It's always been the misnomer about baiting. It sounds bad, but if it's done well, it's very effective.
It's true. Ooh! That's unreasonable. Galil made to look like an AK with a lack of head armor. And suddenly brutmonster is feeling very scared, peeking in. Youngster even gets the quick jump up onto Firebox, but it's brutmonster to still find one elsewhere. AVN peeking through. Youngster on the other side will be able to get another one. Tenir side swipes as well for more, and Simka hitting the deck. Very nicely done.
Now, unless something is given over to Zero Tenacity, this should be a call to save. You see Brute is still positioned deep, just outside the market, and with nothing giving here for Heroic, Z10 will slink back for that save. It's a lovely entry. Instant scaling there from Youngster as well. I think recognizing that Kyofo is often that solitary site man and just took that information and ran with it. Carved a path straight into that A-bomb site. Heroic are actually on the hunt for these weapons.
It's surprising. This is not good.
Yeah, I was not expecting them to actually give chase.
Let's see whether it comes out back to bite them or not. Right now, for Zero Tenacity, it's time to figure out what their own purchasing is going to look like. They can drop out a pair of pharmacists from the 2 players who saved, so that possibility certainly exists.
Brute's currently on 2 kills a round, as it stands. Obviously got 3 kills in the pistol. got 2 in the anti-eco,
Yeah.
and then I think 3 against the other, or sorry, he got 2 in the anti-force buy and then 3 in the anti-eco.
Sounds about right. It's a lot of kills.
Yeah. So, -5.
Deaths go up, kills do not.
Yeah, all kills matter.
Unfortunately, all deaths might matter a bit more.
Yeah. He's 10-1, he's got his hands still on that AWP. So if he's feeling himself, he might try and get a little bit active. And he's doing exactly that. A couple of mid smokes thrown by the T's, but he clears out middle by his lonesome with that AWP. While Heroic are set up for the complete A execute, and there's so much utility out. Numanha immediately clotheslines one, but there's more players with pistols, and an AK that AVN has recovered inside of Palace. Brute, even past the edge of the smoke at stairs, has brought it back to a 2-on-2, and they know about AVN inside of Palace. But he's completely rerouting.
The op's been recovered. They're worried about it rotate back to B, and rightfully so. Simka has a sight line to cross back in A if they've been pushed into CT. At this point, AVN is making the right moves. He can only look to try and watch out potentially for...
He's jumping window.
Oh no, this is going to be not quite the regroup they were hoping for. Now LNZ only has to wait and see whether anyone's going to be pushing through. But look at this, AVN starts to move back out towards underpass here. At least going to have 2 prongs of assault ready and waiting at that B-bomb site.
I mean, they heard him drop. They heard him try to make the jump into short and instead jump into the underpass. So they're very conscious of the flank into the T apartments. This should be a sitter of a kill here for Youngster. As long as Simka doesn't somehow apply too much pressure from short and draw attention away.
That's exactly what he's hoping to do. The problem is the lack of utility and the lack of kits. This is basically a done deal, and the CTs realize it now. They need to move back and save. Had AVN committed to the B-bomb site, maybe there was a world where you still make this work, but anything short of that would have been tough.
Yeah. I mean, it was effectively a 50-50 call where, you know, because of AVN's position on A, they could have just been stopping, freezing, and waiting to see if AVN reaggressed either from ramp or palace. He took the long reroute. He wanted to regroup. You know, Brute was making... It wasn't urgent at all, sort of, with his AWP. And ultimately, you know, he makes the wrong gamble. If he'd done a massive reroute, if he'd stayed on A, you know, I think... Obviously, the reroute to B would have been great, but it's a hard decision to make. Or get themselves out of some dire straits, though. That was 2 saved weapons and USPs. And it almost ends up as a Z10 win.
Oh, great Molotov. AVN's been pushed out, and Youngster punishes him for his position. Finding the early advantage, and you still have xCloud yet to reveal anything about his position. Kyofo, rather, Nemanja, will look to see if he can find anything back down in the middle. There's still 2 T-side players here, so plenty of presence for sure. There are 4 Molotovs and about 9 flashes still available. Nemanja through the smoke catches a stray few bullets, and xCloud is down low.
This might shift the game plan slightly. I mean, xCloud is going to be a late activator, or the first prong to the assault. If they deal with him inside of the bottom side of Con, it suddenly leaves an open line for some Pious.
They might not expect Kyofo at Sandwich because that's where they found AVN earlier on. That's what Kyofo is relying on. And right now, he's not going to be cleared out by anyone. They do it just in case. Youngster makes sure there is no laziness in this execute, but brutmonster still trades it away before the smoke will fall. It's consolation at best, but maybe Simka can make a difference. No. Surely not.
What is happening here? They're both playing with the smoke, and they've traded spots.
No, they're both back in the exact same positions.
But they thought about it. Yeah, that's a little troublesome there for Kyofo. I mean, the strength of Sandwich is if your site players are fighting, then
Yeah.
Sandwich is effectively an like it's a very hard position to clear out unless it's Molotov'd. I mean, your attention is going to be drawn to the backside of a jungle smoke, or maybe even a player flying through the stairs, or blowing open the top stairs smoke, or fighting from CT. Those are the angles you really have to worry about. But as soon as they cleared basically everything on A and there was no reaction, no one peeked from Firebox, no one peeked from default, they molly under. It's kind of process of elimination. Why is it so silent? Why have they left A completely open? They're either deep inside jungle, or there might be another man in the sandwich. Youngster destroyed both of them, so...
That's the thing about sandwiches. Sometimes there's double meat. You gotta finish it all off.
Yeah, sometimes the sandwich just sucks.
I think Youngster enjoyed that sandwich, actually.
Yeah,
I'll have you know.
probably.
He's gonna leave a very nice Yelp review. Zero Tenacity, though, at the back of a diner experience, will be finding themselves a round behind, 3-4 now, with still the straggled together half buy off the back of the AWP of brutmonster over here as well. They're really drawing straws.
This feels like a certified brute moment. 3 outside of that B bomb site, and he's posted already with his big green.
Might be a chance for a straight head-to-head between the offers. It's something that seems like a rarity sometimes. Brute finds the one. Senpais will be taking a position, but it's a position Brute has now long vacated. They don't know who's here. It could be a stack. AVN's revealed position as well. And now as the 2 players inside ladder will start to push forward, it's AVN to be found. They're not ready for the second. Simca takes a trade.
Oh, they make noise dropping into the underpass, so they're very conscious of this reroute back through the underpass to connector. That was a path that was trying to be cleared out, and now it's just fully read into. Heroic 2-on-4. You can see how quick Z10 are able to react off these positions. I mean, Simca's, or rather Brute, sorry, has taken a deep line inside the B apartments. They're playing too close towards that window.
Flash dodge by Simca as well. He was looking away all along. Heroic will not just lose this round, they barely do any damage to the CT economy in the process as well, just not respecting the possibility of that Brute AWP that they know he has been continually saving.
I think it's as well just... It's... I mean, they've got a minute on the clock. They start pressuring towards that connector, and, you know, Xcloud gets his 1 kill. I think it's, what, LNZ, if I'm not mistaken? Secondary player inside of middle.
Yeah.
You know, they have a potential path, but there's... It's not that there's not a lack of urgency. It's that the 2 pieces are trying to link up, but they're not on the same page about what timing they're aiming for. Maybe they just thought they could creep that second player up con and get a greater advantage, but it blows up in their face.
Speaking of in their face, Kyofo right next to Palace, and Tanir is maybe not going to be expecting this angle. So Pius goes down. Tanir feels like he has to explore. He peeks forward. He's able to force it out, but the grenade could be what makes a difference. Kyofo decides, I don't want to fight this. Even with assistance, I will not take that duel.
Brute is devastating them. I mean, he's 15-2. He's got another double kill with this AWP. And they just both tried to challenge up ramp dry. There might have been 1 flash thrown, but was not enough to pull him away. Oh, okay, well, that's a gift.
Will it be enough? Xcloud's still alive. He's able to get another one. Emmanuel caught on the rotation attempt, and he knows there's a player to the back of the site. He was shot by him earlier. Simca still alive, but as Xcloud watches out for the push, he dodges away. It's LNZ who forces Simca right back into the crosshair of Xcloud. Now he holds on around the smoke. This fantastic round from Zero Tenacity has been all brought apart, and it could be the ace. It really could be. The smoke taken apart, the spray maintained, and LNZ will finish off the gift that xCloud gives them.
That is insane. I mean, from the initial first kill from xCloud was an absolute gift, but every other following frag he fought hard for. I mean, he routes out of the apartments, he dives into the site and just keeps ripping heads off, and he reads as well the reposition from that secondary site man on B. He cut the rotate, but he knew there was still an extra man to deal with. And it's just so well communicated. xCloud maybe providing the spark that Heroic need. Find themselves back in the lead, but there's been many rounds where Z10 have been able to shut them down, and it's on these site holds. Simka completely unchecked. They're facing forward for short because they know that there's presence from AVN, but Simka's doubled up, and long range with that MP9, it will fall short, but it's 3-on-3, just narrowly now an advantage because of LNZ.
brutmonster is able to take that advantage away from them, though. Back to a 2-on-2, the bomb cannot be planted. They've got plenty of time at the very least, but look at where it is. It has to make the cross back, and the smoke will at least assist in ensuring that Tenir bomb gets planted. Oh no, he's caught with a flash in his hand inside the middle of the site. Sunpius now called to order. 2 and 6, suddenly 2 and 7. Zero Tenacity will be able to find the 5th, and again, I have to ask the question. Is that just disjointment between LNZ and the rest of the team? He's the player who's supposed to be addressing short, but everyone's turning away from Simka even after they've died to him.
Yeah, I mean, the counter smoke that Simka throws as well is partially what funnels their decision making. They know they can't run through that force or that jail smoke. It's a tough call, but when you know you have this potential flank, it is a bit perplexing to line yourself up in a crossfire in that nature. No flash to disjoint it. Yeah, certainly could have gone better. Simply just got so much mileage out of that MP9.
Yeah.
And then the 2v2 post plan is they assumed Z10 were going to give them space, but listen, we've watched a fair amount of Zero Tenacity. Do these guys give players space when there's plants happening? Rarely.
These guys barely give space to themselves.
Yeah. So just in the moment, just maybe even forgetting who they're playing against, I think.
Unfortunately for Tenir and Senpai, the two players who were locked into that 2v2, they've really had a stinker from map so far. That's going to have to change.
Yeah. These are the pieces we were talking about the most. I mean, Tenir was like a diamond in the rough, and Senpai is crazy to think that he was a free agent for as long as he was. Or, I guess, maybe not a free agent, but
on the bench.
On the bench. Because we've seen how good he can be. But hasn't expressed that as much here on map 2.
Great grenade onto AVN, and Kyofo right now is about to be met by 2 very deadly T-side players. He's decided he would like to delay this meeting. He's called company over. We'll pick up the one. xCloud is gone, and Nemanja switches out for him as well. Simka's smoke could not be better timed, but he might be rotating away. No, to the back of the bomb site he goes. He will still fall. Tenir gets a team kill. The compensation for success immediately found, and that's not what he wanted. 2-on-3 now. An advantage that could have been theirs, and how frustrating is that? But at the very least, they've segmented Brute away. Avian is low. He will fall. Tenir delivers, but is quickly traded. And as brutmonster is found, Nemanja has a 1v1 to try and commit to. Why is your knife out, Nemanja? Why?
He gets caught. I mean, the HE is thrown. Youngster hears it coming and just swings him on that timing. I think Nemanja was hoping that he'd play for time and that the HE would actually stop him from being able to hear anything, but Youngster played ahead of it. It's a really nice heads-up play from Youngster, but you're banking on a lot there if you're Nemanja. That's the type of player he is, though. High risk, crazy plays. And yeah, sometimes he does sometimes look foolish.
That craziness is going to lead to a 7-5 potentially.
Yeah, you don't often want that kind of presence in a clutch.
Unbiased. He's got two more players where that comes from. Kyoko knows that there's a man behind the cart, but he doesn't know about his bodyguards. It is going to be only Brute left alive. And as good as this first half has been, he's 17-4, but there's really nothing he can do. 4 kills? Is that what you're asking for? Impossible. Heroic finds 7. And the second half, we'll find out whether they can close out on their own map pick. Where Heroic had difficulties towards the end of Nuke, maybe we have seen the same from Zero Tenacity in this first half of Mirage. A fantastic performance from brutmonster is still hindered. It is hindered by a couple of very, very good calls and a few great moments from players like Youngster. Youngster has to be the one to lead the charge back into the bomb site. He's hoping to have Sanpayas to provide a little bit more assistance from short, but he just can't find the duel Kyofo holds on, but the reload timing will be where he's caught out. Youngster and xCloud somehow still find the kills. Their HP is what might hold them back as brutmonster continues to watch out. Oversight from the top of apartments. He gets another one. But now with the time running down low, the kit not present, it's really just brutmonster's game, rather round to win. And xCloud, the fat lady has sung. He no longer has the time. He will have to concede. Brute gets some money. Yeah. Great grenade. Okay. Okay. LNZ? Yeah, Nemanja didn't feel like he was in position to be able to capitalize on that at all. LNZ 5-7 does not end up being particularly trustworthy. AVN, in the meanwhile, though, can't trust that stairs angle. xCloud will punish him from it. Advantage for Heroic has been found, but the beat bomb side conceded. There is still maybe a chance for Tenir to be boosted back up into short for a quick peek out over, but they'd rather regroup their forces and not. No, Tenir's in underpass. Never mind. I have lied to you. Ooh. Yeah. Good side from him. I mean, AVM being taken down over there as well as great juggling of aggro and just taking advantage of knowing what is going on with his teammates. brutmonster initially missing out with a scout. Feels like he can really do no wrong, but maybe that will start to change on this T side. Much more difficult to get production here. The one thing is, though, for Z10 is this is where you can't really rely on him the same way. You do need Kyofo AVN to start showing up and putting up some more numbers. And okay, they might be able to find a creep forward with a deagle, but in the meanwhile, Nemanja has gone down in middle. Tenir reveals that he's deep and short. That's where they're hoping to exploit LNZ. They will be able to do just that. A smoke now down in the middle of the bomb site will allow the bomb to be planted. Can they get any more kills? Another would be great, but with Senpai's finding Simka immediately after the plant, Kyofo's in no man's land. And as he peeks forward, he will not find even a chance to take that head apart. They're playing wingman. But 5-on-5. This time there is a fake on the other side, and this time there is a good trade immediately. Remember, Tenir had dropped down from short, so this is going to be a lengthy rotation backwards for what could be an early flank. But brutmonster now taken down, 4 versus 3 immediately. The CTs are looking to try and maybe even move onto the site before the bomb is planted. The bomb is not, in fact, planted. Canadians left all alone. Yeah. Youngster in pursuit of AVN. Now that he knows what's coming in his way, he wants that money. Oh. Well, there's that money Youngster has been looking for all across that flank. 11-6 and Zero Tenacity have realized that, unfortunately, although they may have been, thinking in that scrimmy, hey, we can continue hitting that one side, scrims have to be played fully. Zero Tenacity might just have their time cut short over here. This is potentially their last full gun round of this game. Change up attempt from Heroic side to try and get ahead of what could be an early B play. If they could have gotten information, maybe they're hoping to get a kill back off and make Zero Tenacity completely waste those first 30-35 seconds. Instead, they're punished, and they might be punished twice over. brutmonster backs off, re-peeks in. LNZ's head is on the ground. At the very least, they do have an aggressive position on Youngster, but if Root is going to be hard clearing this one out, he will be traded. And, oh my god, not even needed. 3 kills for the man, 23-9. So much of what Zero Tenacity have found have been on him, even a 4th tag. And they recede. They're going back towards that B-bomb site. It's their second round in the second half after the pistol win. And it does come off the back of Brute just ripping them to shreds. Yeah. And none of those kills are set up by anyone either. This isn't like, oh, hey, I'm flashing, you peek, I'm trading you. No.
Oh my goodness. I apologize for leaving you out to dry. I've been muted for I think actually a long time.
Oh dear.
I'm so sorry. He is not having a conversation by himself. I have been responding to him. Just you couldn't hear it, the viewers at home. But it has been B-Site Simulator for Z10. And finally, this is one of those moments where Heroic tried to get ahead of that play. They tried to get information, stack the right bomb site. Instead, they just got destroyed by brute monsters. So, oh, what's happening with xCloud? Almost looked like he tabbed out for a second.
As long as he's tabbed back in, I suppose, no harm, no foul. That's a nice flashbang. Senpais has been left on the slightly risky duty of defending this B-bomb site, considering the trends that Zero Tenacity have followed so far. Now, listen, that trend might not continue. And that's what they are really hoping for.
Oh, this could be really bad.
Oh, he's going to be spotted out. The angle advantage for xCloud. And twice over! Where there is Brute on one side, xCloud populates the other, and a smoke to assist his retreat.
Yeah, it was bad, but I didn't know for whom. I mean, AVN was holding the angle, so you would think he would have some kind of advantage, but... yeah, xCloud has been so important for Heroic. Shining light in what seemed like a dark state of affairs, given the way that the last map closed. I think a well-placed Molotov, and he will punish LNZ. Tenir is here to receive, so they know that there's more presence than they would have anticipated on this A-bomb site, and Youngster swinging out for the double kill. Fantastic work from Heroic, getting ahead of that play, and just by placing some Pious on that B-bomb site, suddenly all the nameplates have changed. Z10 don't have a read on whether it's a rotate, a site anchor, how many players they're expecting to receive. And they lose out on important duels, I mean, basically via xCloud to get it all rolling. I almost feel like I have to compensate for the fact you've had to, for the viewers at home. You've been the only one speaking for so long.
It's just a reminder to everyone. Like, hey, wait, what's that voice? He can do voices?
Yeah.
Wow. I think compensation needs to be provided from a lot of the Zero Tenacity side right now.
Yeah.
12-7, Heroic are going to be in a position to just shut it out off the back of, you know, a couple of anti-B-side hits, and feels like that's all she wrote. A couple of good plays. xCloud having a great B-side hit of his own on the T-side. Yeah. Ooh.
That nade would do more damage. The second one
Well, there you
definitely
go.
will. Yeah. Make up for lost shrapnel.
The CTs are starting to explore, and this is where mistakes can be made. They're doing it smart, though. They're boosting up. They're making sure that they're not going to be funneled forward into the Eagles or anything like it. And very, very wary of the Brute Monster AWP that they know is likely going to be in his hands. And here, I think spotted out Namani over there, and now he certainly has. Head chopped off. 55 seconds on the clock, and 3 players who are slowly inching forward down middle. And as the peak comes through, Simca will not be able to stop his teammate from being taken down. xCloud gets one before he's traded. At LNZ, always good for that single. It'll be enough. Heroic find 13, and Zero Tenacity's T side crumbles.
Yeah, it really felt like they only had one real game plan coming into that T side. I mean, they hit the B bomb site so many times. They tried to exploit LNZ, who, I mean, to be fair, in-game leader as the sole anchor.
We haven't seen his full potential, but in the back of our minds, there's this itchy feeling. There's this, scrambling thought. Is he ever going to? And look,
Yeah.
I hope he does. I really hope he does. He's an incredible player. Great to see him on the stages. But you know what else he could be? He could be a stepping stone right here for Zero Tenacity to find that road, to find that first step towards their path to an S-tier LAN in IEM Dallas. It's map number 3, and it's all decided here.
Yeah, so far, this series, I mean, Nuke was pretty head-to-head, but on Mirage, Brute out-oped Senpais. I mean, you saw the kind of production he was getting on that weapon, even in a losing effort. And that was not how I expected that head-to-head to go.
It is a CT side where Zero Tenacity will start off their pistol round. Looks to be an A-sided split and finish with 3 players coming down middle for their heroic camp. It is only Kyofo who's in position to defend. It's going to be a late rotation from Nemanja to try and provide assistance, but Kyofo's missed out initially. Nemanja is the one to collect on 1, and Kyofo's done the same. Trades come out from heroic, and the plant will as well.
Oh my, the burst from xFloud as well, instantly gunning down that camera rotate. Simka trying to play close, and xFloud will double up for another, and they are fully aware of brutmonster on this flank. He's contained, trapped in at this pillar, and he can still isolate fights like this, but it's an instant delivery there from LNZ. The flashes didn't do a whole lot in terms of, you know, stopping Kyofo's sight lines. He's still able to get at least his 1 kill, and Nemanja did make his rotate in time. But they needed more from the initial site defense if they really wanted a chance. Or they had
It's a nice timing.
Or they had to instantly gun down xFloud, sorry.
It's a nice timing being hit by Heroic over there as well. The fact that they commit with mid so much earlier than the A-sided hit. Kyofo's caught in between angles. It's a terrible position for dualies to be fighting up as well. Works out quite well for them. Now, they go into what should, hopefully, fingers crossed, be the easiest round of the game for them.
It's USPs.
I just don't want them to lose too many players, that's all.
Sure.
It's been an issue Heroic has faced actually so far in this series. Against a couple of these ecos, against a couple of these, you know, even just low deagle buys. They've gone down to 1 player, 2 players, and been punished for it.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. Set up for a B hit, but look at the aggression here from Zero Tenacity. These USPs get a whole lot of nothing. Ah yes, the don't clear me corner, please.
I believe it is called Ostrich, but yeah. Out in the sand and hoping that things will be okay. Zero Tenacity now move on to their first gun round. It's Heroic. Will hope to extend a good start.
Yeah, good money made. For LNZ as well. More chances to build on that as well. Lack of head armor on Nemanja and Brute. Should expect that they'll be playing distanced fights. They'll know that Galils are still on the table. There's SMGs as well. Can prove to be a major vulnerability. Lurk Smoke instantly deployed by Heroic towards B, and so we'll put the B side players on notice, but look at the aggression that they're facilitating here for Kyofo. They tried to burst open that A main smoke, and meanwhile they've found a kill via Simka inside of the connector. LNZ is still crept forward with the use of the smoke on the site, and they get a double kill on the entry. It's still Simka at the back of it that's trying to maintain some control.
Nemanja has moved in through the smoke. He's trying to round the corner while the bomb is planted. Tenir is low, so Senpais has to do some heavy lifting here. He's got the weights in his hands, but he just can't bring them up. It's all down to Tenir, darting to and fro around the pillar, but Zero Tenacity will still come through. Fantastic triple kill from Simka right there. I have to say, it's a strange timing on the Molotov because it felt like, you know, the Molotov towards Ninja and Pillar felt like there wasn't really the coordination to push through with the Mach 10, so they never actually end up punishing Simka in that position.
They just chopped down the rotate and the support, but that firm anchor position at the platform is just... I mean, it's free for Simka because there's a smoke in front of it as well. He can re-navigate, he gets the trade kills he needs to, and then that Nemanja backup kind of came in at a critical time. talked a little bit about how AVN and Kyofo were maybe a little missing on that first map. But Kyofo as an A-side anchor, his decision making is very solid.
Yeah. It does feel like on Anubis, that's one of the biggest strengths of Zero Tenacity is that Nemanja feels free to do so much in middle because he has reliance over his anchors.
Yeah, Simco on that B bomb side and then Kyofo on A, it's very easy to see why you would have faith in that.
For now, though, he has left mid open. It is going to be reinforcements on either side of the map and a flash up high for Kyofo to take a peek. He knows where Senpais is and has now overwhelmed him. It's also just a solo peek. Senpais heard no one. He said the flash was thrown by the player himself, so Nemanja position is still relatively unknown. The X-Cloud turns away, but they're still able to get the kill. It is going to be a quick smoke out to keep mid blocked away. Those grenades will not chase quite far enough. Kyofo has a chance for one more, and he'll find it. Given up for free as X-Cloud again looks away. This time, though, LNZ can only avenge, not save.
Very dangerous plant position. Storage was open, but it would have been a crazy play for Brute to just fully swing for that. Step made, so Tenir is relaying that information over. And he has to be that unforeseen element. Tries to hold for heaven, but now they switch between angles. LNZ takes the fight, but the trades are working well for Z10. AVN fighting forward, Youngster out in the open and down to 4 HP. And Brute knows he should have some kind of health advantage. And HE could finish off the job. He's just tapped it. And Youngster will swing, but the nade will chase him. That 4 health was not enough for Shrapnel. And it will be a tying round here for Z10 on the retake.
I'm a little bit surprised to see X-Cloud, in these positions. Of course, I understand you're hoping that your second player is going to be able to clear out anything else. You're very worried about what's going on that particular bomb site as well. But it's just getting blindsided like that. Great retake then afterwards from Zero Tenacity and a fantastic wherewithal to find that grenade on the ground over there as well. I'm not sure if it was calmed over by a teammate or anything like it. That's what it did feel like.
Yeah, had he not had the HE, the round is incredibly difficult. It's a game of chicken.
Oh.
Wow, they try and boost Con, and LNC's actually got the better of it.
Would have loved to see that from his perspective, but, I like the idea.
Yeah.
Incendiary down doesn't quite spread, and Avian's been making noise. He might not be fully aware about how close Youngster truly is. He should have an idea, though.
Yeah, that's what the volley was used for, so he could recover his smoke and stall for even more time after losing one of his members. Good flash.
Perfect timing. Nemanja has been taken down. It's a 5 versus 3, and now Heroic, who has still yet to commit to either bomb site, can wait for the CTs to regroup, or maybe just go out exploring a little bit more so. Smoke out in middle, and brutmonster is likely going to have to make the executive decision to save. Oh, no, wow. He might be saving the round. They're going to be able to go back over towards the B bomb site where the attack is coming in from. Kyofo can try and be that late presence. Smoke down in the middle of the bomb site, but plenty of room to work with a grenade to pop it open. AVN gets a second as well. It's back to a 3-on-2, and brutmonster now given position by LNZ. LNZ chases past to the back of the site, but he can't push forward anymore. He knows the op is going to be watching out for him. Now it's a game for Kyofo, who's starting to come in from dark. A flash to assist him, and just that same attempt will be able to find out that now LNZ's been taken down. Only one remaining, but it's AVN with the kit. It has to be Kyofo to peek, but Youngsters made quick work of it. Brings it back to 1 versus 1. Kyofo's trying to stick the defuse, but it will not happen. Youngster takes him down.
Kyofo tried to call his bluff. Youngster tried to play it so safe before, only ever peeking when he absolutely needed to when he was on that 4 HP. I think just trying to play with the idea that, there's no way he would stick it. He's got such an advantageous position inside of main. Just killed his teammate that was supposed to be covering for him. But Youngster had the timing absolutely down pat. That is a critical round, but again, there's these small minor mishaps that are occurring. A simple smoke, one smoke to cross. They didn't actually need to journey a player body round that smoke. They could have thrown the bomb over. There were 2 players that came out con, and they almost suffered the round for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great synergy there from Z10. Player rotating temple, blows the smoke for Brute and CT. You know, that's the type of quick communications and synergy you expect from a team that's been together for as long as Z10 have. This core, I mean, this 5, over 2.5 years, I think now?
I never heard any rumors about them leaving either. I never heard any rumors about them being sniped away.
Sorry, almost 3.5 years. AVN, the 2.5-year guy.
And new kid on the block, eh?
Yeah, real new, fresh.
It's going to be all about moving past this force buy from Zero Tenacity, and Heroic can almost guarantee themselves a great T side off the back of it. Can be tricky sometimes to deal with these pistols, but when Nemania's got a smoke in his hand, X-Cloud can just close that distance before it blooms. Nemania's taken down, the A-bomb site found completely empty. And Tenir is actually still fighting elsewhere. He's been pushed on by AVN, who will recover that AK. It might be prudent to consider saving it. Even ferries a Max 7 back to Simca.
Hell, why not? If he gets a kill with this, that's money made. Oh my goodness, and youngsters in spawn. Does Simca... Okay, that's... I was gonna say, if he cleared that, that would have been outrageous, but it's a triple from youngster. No saves allowed. He's where they buy guns.
Zero Tenacity likely already having a conversation about the next round by that point. And they are punished. 2 to 5 is a projected scoreline likely to materialize. This is going to be quite scary for Zero Tenacity. We haven't really seen anything of aggression from Nemanja so far in the mid, and a lot of the times that's what they are reliant on, but you can see why. Heroic has made mid such a focus, and X-Cloud in particular has been diligent in expending every single bit of utility that he can to force that player away, asking for more, asking for flashes, asking for extra mollies.
A full B stack. But with X-Cloud, sorry, not X-Cloud, done the thing. I've looked at the radar and looked at the numbers incorrectly.
It's okay.
Youngster, sorry, probing in towards that A-bomb site. Even if they're postured outside of B, the more that Youngster clears, the easier it'll be to make this decision to reroute. LNZ just has to make sure he doesn't get caught inside of the canals. Yeah, Youngster's cleared everything, so they're calling that bomb back. And LNZ, under pressure, does do well to get his 2. And so that AK can potentially be recovered, safeguarded somehow. Rechallenged, yeah. X-Cloud will sit atop it.
He wanted to try and find another kill with the Mac 10 before he switches out to it. Maximum value.
Yeah. Also don't want to get caught switching guns, because that would be pretty devastating.
It is true. It is true. I've heard some casters really frown on that. I don't know why. Weird guys.
Yeah. Understandable. Have a nice day.
Well, 2 to 5, like we mentioned. Now comes the question of what Zero Tenacity's plan is going to look like. Brutmonster is not going to have an AWP going into this round. You are going to be insufficient in that. You're likely expecting some sort of an A-side push, maybe a potential canal pincer to be brought together from the Z10 side. But it has to be a play. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They also don't have a kit. Youngsters Mac 10 will find 4 unhelmeted heads. Kyofo is one of them.
You can see Brute wants to come in and support, but I mean, the stalling util from Kyofo is very well placed, albeit forced out of his hand very early. So it does mean that Heroic may have a chance to re-exec this side or re-challenge it. It's a little awkward, a little exchange there with Nemanja, just a jiggle peek in mid, and Tenir will molly him out of position.
Look at how much util they're willing to deploy. It's 2 Molotovs, a deep smoke out, and a flashbang as well. Nemanja's still here, though. He's only asked for a flash in response to start pushing forward.
This is a really good call here from Heroic. Smoke down in camera, and sure, Brute will play ahead of it, but there's just no util available here for Z10 to try and stall. Kilfo has to fight, and he gets gunned down immediately by that MAC-10, and Brute run over all the same. That MAC-10 pays for itself and more. A 6th round likely attained by Heroic. You already see Z10 moving the save.
Heroic are so successful, and they couldn't ditch their MAC-10s and Galils, and when they finally do, it has to be in exchange for M4s.
Ideal.
And to be fair, they're still looking to hunt. Look at how much money they have. They should. Avian's going to be the first target found. He has to fight for his life over here. Youngster will be able to take him down. And now you continue to tighten the noose. Finding another one is Youngster, and all of these kills so impactful. Zero Tenacity will not have a bye in the next round because of it. 2 to 6 and 2 to 7, pretty much a guarantee.
Yeah, they're not shooting. I mean, Youngster unchallenged from instant Mac-10 headshots. AVN had a fair duel inside of the connector. Youngster just out-dueled everybody in that round. They had M4s, he had a Mac. Even when he's at a disadvantage, when he's him, it's still an advantage.
True.
LNZ has also been climbing in the frag count. Honestly, at the start of this year, it's been really weird for in-game leaders. I swear there's so many of them that have just had incredible series.
You're saying it's been weird for IGLs. You got to talk to Shui, man. He knows all about being weird for IGLs.
That's a whole different can of worms.
But it is going to be pretty weird for this IGL on Z10 as well. Nemanja needs to find a solution. And frankly, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, he's not playing with the same confidence, the same, I don't know, nonchalance as we've seen in some previous Z10 performances.
But how can he look at this util sets that are coming out towards him? Every time he starts a round, it's PTSD.
Yeah, they've thrown the kitchen
it's
sink at him.
napalm, it's fury, it's shrapnel, and flashbangs.
And then nothing. Yeah, sometimes it's just there's not even a player there when he decides to reinvestigate it later into the round.
We asked if Zero Tenacity might have been targeting or looking to target LNZ in that previous map. I can tell you, Heroic are definitely targeting Nemanja over here.
Yeah, but almost like not targeting to kill him. They're just targeting to scare him off. And it's been working.
A Scarecrow maneuvers.
Look at this read. I mean, they have pistols, but it's 4 on this B-bomb site.
Tenir's Molotov is going to be incredibly important. He has to make sure that that one's deployed out towards the back of the site, maybe out towards, the Ninja Pillar area.
Do they have a HE on Youngster? They do, but they can't actually blow that B main smoke, so they just exec.
Well, Avian gets taken down, and against pistols, I suppose that can work out. I've heard you can't just shoot them.
Yeah, I thought that smoke that they managed to get down towards B main actually just was very well timed. At around that 35, 40 second marker, I mean, the smoke would stall out at least 18 seconds, maybe 20. As it fades or as it builds, there's a little bit of a time where you can still move through it.
Throwing flashes as well.
Yeah, they weren't scared at all.
Why would they be? It's 7 and 2. They've got a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah. And the under-delivery in the fragging department for Z10 has carried over into this third map, and this time you don't have the saving grace of Brute being able to dominate on the AWP. Constantly straining your opponent's money. I mean, look at the cash for Heroic.
And Cash is king.
Yeah, T side. Yeah, Anubis is a T side favored map, but you're expecting to sustain casualties. You're expecting to have some clutches and strain, but it's been anything but. It's a nice opener here for AVN, but it's instantly traded.
And Simka doesn't know what's coming in for him. He's waiting for the smoke to clear out. He's not going to get a single kill over here. And now Molotov to try and force them away, but the incendiary barely singes them. Youngster's being pushed on, but he's got the trades. No, he doesn't. Tenir too late to swing. In the meanwhile, elsewhere, they've lost out players in Nemanja. Finally able to get a push going for him with a double kill. It's a big one. But the site is still uncontested. Look at how far back Kyofo is playing. They will allow the plant.
It's so quiet. He plants open to temple. And he'll have no idea about Kyofo. Kyofo's just trying to stall, wait for his teammate, but I think he realizes the advantage he has. He sees where that bomb is planted and thinks there's two positions he can be. Deep CT, or he's on the platform, and he just finds perfect timing to backstab. That's the kind of play that Nemanja can pull off so frequently. It's either by reads or by aggressive mid-round decisions, but so frequently he's in the right spots. Outside of that round, though, he's been completely mitigated. So it's a good sign for Z10 that Nemanja was able to come up big with that double kill. Else the round probably was another save call.
And there's still a lot to fight for. If you can get to 5 rounds, this is still great. You forget about that first half entirely at that point. And then T side, it's much more harder. It's much more difficult to mitigate someone in quite the same way when they are on that T side. You can't control their positions. You can't control their pathing. Not quite to the same extent, at least.
So many options to reroute on Anubis. Swim it. Great flash. LNZ blind as a bat.
Simka wants to peek out again. Youngster forced away by the incendiary. Simka's going to just confirm that fact and start to re-aggress on his own as the incendiary runs out. Nemanja's found another one, and it's going to be AVN and Simka together. Heroic might have had their run of good form, but it is now falling apart. Zero Tenacity, their cleanest round yet.
And I have to say, you know, as I'm talking about the ability to reroute and change positions, Heroic, I get kind of caught bouncing between ideas. Oh, they lose the opening kill inside of connector. Youngster can't find a trade. Okay, let's maybe slink back towards that A bomb site. We have a timing in mid, and as soon as that player is found out, the instant re-aggression into connector. Heroic get honestly kind of devastated. Everywhere they go where they think they have a chance or a way back in, there's either a clean kill from Z10 or a double push. So it is well orchestrated. Some signs of life from Z10 CT side. Double up start here for Heroic. And a spare AK inside of spawn that they can move back into. They're going to see if they can fish for an opening duel. Don't always have to get a kill with a double AWP. Just showing presence can sometimes be enough for players to haphazardly peek into angles, but it's Brute's AWP that actually strikes. Deep peek into B main. Kyofo almost caught with his util out, and he's deploying the whole belt right at Youngsters, applying a lot of pressure on this A bomb site. The flash catches Kyofo entirely, and Nemanja has to be able to find this frag. The flash for Youngster, it's well placed. Brute missing his shot on the reinforcements, but he will find his one. It's LNZ that's broken in with that bomb, but a smoke down. He doesn't have reinforcements. He just wants to tap it and keep Zero Tenacity guessing because he's still got this late lurk on A.
Xcloud is miles away and he's taken the long route on his maps. He's trying to come in from the CT flank and just see if he can find any of these players up in heaven, receding backwards. Zero Tenacity have to be very careful about this.
This is a crazy play.
It's going to be taking that A bomb site. He goes in all the way from behind. It's going to be one freebie. Can there be more? 30 seconds is plenty of time to make a move after this as well. He can duck out, try and watch out.
No!
But oh no! brutmonster has somehow found the perfect timing. The gods have not smiled on xCloud today. It is 5 rounds for 0 Tenacity, upsetting perhaps, but so pleasing to watch. We'll find out what the second half has in store after a break. We're back with 0 Tenacity, who have somehow found 5 despite looking like they were maybe even down and out. Heroic want to stop this comeback from happening. They need to get this pistol round. They need to stop anything that Z10 have been able to get so far.
Dude, look at this. Is a great decision. I mean, it's a 3-man mid-hold here for Heroic, and sure, they have a smoke and a flash available for potential retake, but Z10 simply walk into the A bomb site completely uncontested. Brute has to cut down some of these rotates, but just gets overwhelmed. So man advantage here now for Heroic coming back into this bomb site.
xCloud is the only player away from A main. It's going to be 4 players funneled through over there, and Azero just hoping to clear out CT spawn. Nemanja has to step up and show up. He decides to move away from the duels. They can try and play time. There aren't kits, but look at how fast these T-side players are falling. Sunfire is trying to defend, but it's the falling Simka who might have just saved the day. It still now comes down to AVN. Needs to take the peak, needs to go forward, and it's Youngster's quick bullet to take him out, but it will not matter.
Oh, they just get on that bomb just a little bit too late. That dive into the bomb site there from, I believe it was AVN, right? It was a necessary step. I mean, smoked off inside of heaven. That was their best chance of stopping the plant. or stopping the defuse rather, and it pays off. Just in the chaos, Heroic hit some lovely shots back on the retake, but just some of these moments where they get stalled out, even just Kyofo playing close main and trying to keep them at bay. Even though they don't find kills in that initial bout of duels, it still just slows down Heroic enough. When it comes to a tight defuse like that, every second counts. But that looked like a hard read. Firm anti-strat. Tight pistol there from Z10. 2 sets of util on that A bomb site, and there's just nobody there in the end.
Next spot. Pushes through the smoke into another smoke. I am getting a little bit concerned though about whether this is going to be a late round A side hit, because Heroic is starting to move players back down to middle. Sunpias will not be alone in this duel. AVN's already been tagged down. Sunpias can even push forward if he'd like to and just look to collect that quick kill. 5-7's great at this range for either one of these duels. He knows there's 2 players around the corner, but meanwhile in A main, it's brutmonster and Simka who are trying to find these frags. xCloud is getting the better of them, but just can't finish off what he started. Youngster with the Fama skill found. 2 more to look for. Some great damage, but it's not just damage that they want to settle in for when they've come this far. 7-7, 0 Tenacity will equalize.
I think what I'm fearful of here for Heroic is, listen, they had a great start to this game. They were winning with a lot of the early calls, and the mid-round choices were all fantastic on that T side. But if we recall, you know, back to Nuke, all it took was a couple of rounds where there were missed opportunities, bad, or I guess inability to perform in clutch moments that really felt like it took them out of the game. That's something that they cannot afford to have happen to them in this map, because Zero Tenacity, by and large, here on Anubis, have looked like the worst team. But if Heroic lose that mental battle, then Z10 suddenly hold a lot more stake than you'd anticipate. Here on pistols, Heroic have done decent damage already. It's on brutmonster to stop them from recovering these rifles, and these pistols will continue to do damage. Rifles can be recovered, and Bomb still has yet to journey away from the outside of this B bomb site.
Kyovo has to be careful. Oh, he finds Sunpias looking away, and that is maybe even the difference maker. 55 HP on him. He was a prime target to lose the bomb.
Let's be careful. He's so loud.
Made a lot of noise. They know exactly where he's coming in from. He gets the first shot, but it's not enough. Still, fantastic damage. Heroic are still putting themselves in a position to potentially run away with it. Hell, even right now, this spy's slightly stressed out.
Yeah, they can definitely break the cash here, Z10. I mean, at most in the following round, if Heroic win this one, Z10 can get a hero rifle together, maybe. Even though it's more likely that they opt for a force buy or something pacey. But that's if Heroic find the stop. It's a great HE. Double push in connector planned from the start here by Heroic, and both of them tank 54 damage each.
As bad as it gets.
Yeah, Sunpias does find his pick, though, at the very least.
It is still maybe setting up for re-aggression from Youngster to come true. If they want, when the smoke finishes off, you can start to take a gander. That's really the only place where they can try and get some information out of this map. Look at where brutmonster is right now, all the way deep in the middle. And with that, with Namana dead, they might have the misconception that mid is going to be less of a focus. It does nothing, and Kyofo will only take it as his cue to start going forward. It's another smoke, but it's one he's considering just moving through, and they'll all do it together, only to be met by xCloud's double kill and Youngster, who fades away from that lurking brute. Heroic keep all 5 alive as they fight back on the CT side.
that is one of the problems with having a stressed economy and also expending so many of your resources so quickly. I mean, they desperately dive through that A main smoke, and it just serves them all up on a silver platter there for xFloud. Even if Brute could have activated in from camera, if the first prong of your assault, the one with the majority of the manpower, is dealt with, that lurk can only do so much. So that was exactly what the Doctor ordered there for Heroic, and they do opt for this Hero AK. Simka affords it. Drops it to Nemanja, the in-game leader, which many rosters would be criticized for doing, perhaps, but on this one, it is justified. But they could have gone with a full half buy with pistols. They really wanted to find an opener with this AK.
And Heroic just decided not to contest. They're sitting back in their bomb sites, waiting for the duels to come to them. Only LNZ to watch out for mid, and even he's just jiggling with an incendiary. But it might be time to call the forces back to A. xFloud is waiting, and they're going to pop through that smoke again. He keeps being given these duels. xFloud and LNZ are as happy as a bee in a bonnet. My God.
I mean, it's just been a hell of a map from LNZ. The calls he was making on T side, some of the kills he's been getting together. He's 22 and 10.
A number I have completely neglected to look at so far. I will be honest, I wasn't even thinking about looking at LNZ's kills.
I mean, he was pretty much neck and neck with xFloud at one point, was he not? Or was it
Youngster? With Youngster.
Or was it Youngster?
Yes.
And he's just flown off the charts.
Zero Tenacity are running out of steam. Help. They might already be out.
I was expecting star power from an in-game leader on Anubis. It wasn't LNZ. It was Nemanja that I was expecting that from.
Maybe the real fragging IGL was LNZ all along. Well, anti-eco is clean, and that is now 3 rounds in a row, if I'm not wrong, where they keep 5 players alive.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's about the right time to use the tactical timeout, I think.
Well, I was saying I was worried about the mental for Heroic. You win rounds like that, ain't no problems. Currently a breeze.
I'm worried about who digs them out of this hole on Zero Tenacity.
I mean, typically it would be... typically it is Nemanja. But he's been somewhat absent this series, if I'm being honest.
I think absent might be putting it lightly, because it feels like he's been specifically neutered.
Yeah. I mean, on that CT side, you could certainly understand. I mean, you do a great job of sort of highlighting. He's getting the kitchen sink thrown at him round after round, and then basically not being given duels. But you still expect him to weasel his way out of it somehow.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a hallmark of his game.
And there will always be games where this happens, but who's the right-hand man?
Yeah, there has to be some kind of backup.
Right now, it does just feel like things aren't looking too different to Mirage. Another focused attempt towards the A site might be being lined up. And it's a site that is really yet to deliver. Simka caught off by a flashbang. xFloud shuts him down. Didn't even stand a chance.
It's just so well coordinated. A molly straight into a flashbang. If there's anybody there, they're just dead to rights.
Look at this. They're immediately turning back for Nemanja. They know what he's trying to do over here. They fight back in the middle, and sure, they're losing numbers. But even so, they're aware. But awareness isn't all. 2 players pushing in through the smoke, but the bomb has to make its way back. AVN without faith to try and protect, but Tenir is even considering pushing through this Molotov. Kyofo hidden away though is the difference maker. They know youngsters nearby, and he's trying to beat their time. He's trying to beat the play, but Kyofo with 3 is that right-hand man.
Yeah, it's a massive triple. But, I mean, some missed shots along the way. One for Sampaius where it seems like he has a sitter, and then for Youngster and it was LNZ, right? See, I'm doing a terrible job of remembering nameplates. But the last 2 players, LNZ and Youngster, trying to jump through that smoke. I think Youngster got lost in the smoke. He didn't come out with LNZ. When you hear a tap on the plant, the ideal is you create a 2 versus 1.
Yeah.
And instead they offered up 2 1v1s or 1 1v1 and then 1 1v2. So I think that would have been the part of the justification for calling a timeout immediately after a round like that. They have a 3 versus 2 scenario. The player is low inside of middle, and Sampaius misses his shot, but the way they played the 2 versus 2 as well is far too panicked and just not on the same page as one another. Or if they were, there were mechanical errors thrown in the midst of it.
For Zero Tenacity, it is winning their sales. For Heroic, it is something to put behind them.
They've had so many beautiful rounds on the CT side.
Flawless. Many times over.
Yeah, even the start of that last round looked great, but the finish that they had problems with.
Monster, they will find that first kill this time. X-Cloud will not be that stalwart defender of the A site. And, well, there is a trade. Simca falls. Was the one tasked with bomb duty as well, but right now it's going to be Nemanja trying to deal back a little bit of what he was delivered. It is a lot of utility down mid, but watch out for Youngster all in the meanwhile. He's pushed through. He's taken control. He knows what he needs to do. This flank, if he finds Nemanja, it becomes a whole lot more difficult to take over the A-bomb site.
Yeah, and he knows that Nemanja will be in middle. It's just a guarantee.
Oh my god, he's looking away. He's going to be able to find it. Now suddenly they can fully focus in. Tunnel vision onto A main. Kyofo able to bait out the shot. He's pushing forward. He's saved 1 round. Can it be another in the cards for him? No, it might not be. Caught between angles, caught between players. It's Youngster to take 1. LNZ to make it 2. 11 on the board for Heroic.
Yeah, I mean, 2 massive performances so far from Youngster and LNZ, and this time the activity to push through B main when Z10 have no one responsible for holding it. Nemanja has had a bit of a genuinely an off game in terms of understanding the timings, the capabilities of his opponents in these mid rounds. He is not being the thorn in the side that he typically expects to be, and once again, you know, this heroic core that have been brought forward have experience playing this roster. They understand all the tricks of the trade that Z10 bring to the table here on Anubis. I think sometimes the problem always is, even if you know what people are going to do, you still sometimes can't entirely mitigate it. They've done a fantastic job of doing exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
It's only in these more chaotic 2v2, 3v3s that we've ever really seen stumblings from this heroic roster.
Unfortunately for Zero Tenacity, where Heroic had a trampoline to fall back down on, they've only got the cold hard ground. They've got deagles. No, they've also not got all 5 of their players still alive.
Yeah, I mean, Nemanja has just been figured out.
Twelfth round at this point is inevitable for Heroic. Oh my god, an accidental kill with it as well. Tenir doesn't even register it, perhaps. Incendiary goes out to the back. Brutmonster trying to play tango, but I don't think Tenir is on the dance floor.
Well, 3 chances to close out this series, and given the way that this CT side has been looking here for Heroic, it's hard to say that Z10 have many legs to stand on. Had a nice triple kill from Kyofo in a 2 versus 3. but it's been limited success for Z10. Sapias may not have a whole lot of kills, but he's been finding solid entries or kills back with his AWP thus far. Xcloud, very aggressive move. They're looking for a knockout punch, and LNZ will deliver at least on one. And he'll move in for the double kill. Youngster coming in from canals. It's a total pinch. And Z10 are thrust into this 3 versus 3, but this is where they've throve more than Heroic have.
Sunpias will be falling down. They're demonstrating exactly why they're thriving. Tenir trying to take advantage of the grenade is leaving Youngster all alone. Youngster at the very least does finish off his one duel. And they have time to go to A if they wanted to, but they'd rather get into better post-spawn positions. Remember, they don't have... Is that grenade going to catch him out? No, it doesn't go quite deep enough. A deep incendiary as well is going to continue to make things difficult for Brute. He's taking damage, is going to be moving outside of the flames, but as the smoke goes down, Youngster's got so much to do. A kit to recover. Sure, he gets it. He gets the healthy play, and he gets the adjustment somehow. With a 4K, Youngster propels Heroic to their victory.
I mean, both Youngster and LNZ genuinely just lights out performance here on Anubis. 27 kills for the in-game leader of Heroic, and then Youngster, that young emerging star that has been really finding his feet under the Heroic banner.